It happened on a Thursday night. She said something so sharp it felt like it sliced straight through me. Don't touch me. Just move. I stood there for a moment, unable to react, my hands hanging awkwardly between us. The light in the living room flickered across her face, but there was no gentleness left in her eyes, only exhaustion, maybe even irritation. 6 years of marriage, and suddenly I felt like some unwanted guest standing in the wrong house. Her name was Jessica. There was a time she used to fall asleep against my chest, when being close to each other felt easy and warm. But lately, she had been drifting away. Her smiles looked practiced. Her hugs felt like routine gestures. I kept telling myself it was stress, that she just needed a little distance, that whatever was happening would soften with time. But I'd been lying to myself. Something inside me broke when she said those words. I searched her face for anything, regret, softness, a trace of the woman I used to know.
She didn't even look at me.
She just scrolled on her phone like I was interrupting her evening. You heard me, she said, still not looking up. Stop hovering. I need space. I nodded slowly.
Space.
Sure. I went upstairs, packed a small bag, and walked out the door without making a sound. No anger, no argument. Just silence. For 2 days, I stayed in a cheap motel on the edge of town.
She didn't text.
Didn't call. My phone stayed completely still on the nightstand. I lay awake staring at the ceiling, wondering how a marriage could collapse without so much as a sound. On the third night, everything changed. Near midnight, my phone lit up. One call, then another, then 10. All from her. A moment later, the messages came. Where are you? Why won't you answer? Please just pick up. By sunrise, I had over 50 missed calls. That's when I realized the quiet she'd once craved had finally become too much for her. But it didn't matter anymore. Her panic couldn't fix what her words had broken. All it did was remind me how hollow I'd felt the night she pushed me away. When someone finally leaves after being taken for granted, the regret always arrives too late. When I eventually returned home, the house felt scrubbed clean. Too neat. Too empty. Like she'd erased me. Even the scent of my cologne was gone. Jessica sat on the couch, her eyes swollen from crying. She jumped to her feet when she saw me. You just left, she said, her voice shaking. Do you know what that did to me? I looked at her quietly. You told me my touch bothered you, I said. So, I thought leaving would make it easier for you to breathe. Her mouth opened like she wanted to argue, but nothing came out. She just sank back into the couch. I didn't mean it like that, she whispered. I was just overwhelmed. I needed space. No, I said softly. You didn't ask for space. You pushed me out. The silence that followed was the same one that had lingered between us for months, except now it was filled with regret instead of indifference. She tried for days to patch things up. She cooked things I used to love. She laughed at every little thing I said. She texted me long messages during work, as if trying to rewind the last year of distance. But something inside me had shifted. I no longer needed her approval, her affection, her warmth. I wasn't angry, I was simply done. One night she reached out to hug me. I didn't move. Her arms hovered for a moment, and then fell. You're not coming back to me, are you? She whispered. I looked at her, the woman who once meant everything to me, and said, You taught me how to walk away. You just didn't think I would. Tears filled her eyes, but I didn't stay to watch them fall. I left again, this time without hesitation. She wanted space. I finally had peace. Weeks passed before I saw her again. I had moved into a small downtown apartment. I started jogging in the mornings. My nights were quiet but not lonely. My world had become simple. Black coffee, long walks, silence that didn't feel heavy anymore. Then one evening, I found her waiting by my door. Her hair was messy. Her eyes were hollow. She held a paper bag against her chest like it was some fragile thing. I didn't know where else to go, she said. I didn't step closer. What are you doing here, Jessica? She looked up at me with the kind of sadness that only comes when someone finally understands the damage they helped create. I made a mistake, she said quietly. You were the one person who ever really cared, and I pushed you away. I thought being on my own would make me feel free. Instead, it just made me feel lost. Her words didn't hurt me. They didn't heal me either. They just didn't land anywhere. It was like they were meant for a version of me that didn't exist anymore. I'm not angry, I said. But I can't go back. You showed me what it feels like to be unwanted. I can't unfeel that. She nodded, tears slipping down her face. I deserve that, she whispered. I just hoped maybe we could start over. I opened the door just enough to hand the paper bag back. Inside were pieces of our history, our wedding picture, my old watch, a note she wrote me on an anniversary long ago. Keep them, I said. Those belong to the past. We don't. She just looked at me one last time, like she was memorizing the outline of someone she once believed would always be there. Then she walked away, her footsteps fading down the hall. Later that night, my phone buzzed. Her final message. I hope you find someone who never recoils from your touch. I smiled slightly and turned the screen off. Because the truth was, I already had someone. Myself. Sometimes disappearing isn't about revenge. It's not about teaching anyone a lesson. It's about understanding that peace doesn't come from holding on to someone who can't love you. It starts the moment you stop chasing them.